Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to this great session on beauty, cosmetics, personal care, and hygiene as part of the CMPL Connect series. We've got a very elaborate and distinguished panel with us today, who are joining us from diverse backgrounds from the FMCG industry. We've got Mr. Prince Chatterjee, who heads the private label for Health and Glow. He looks after the private label import and international brand alliances for Health and Glow. So, welcome, Mr. Chatterjee. We've got Suneet Sharma, who's been a very strong supporter of the platform for the last couple of years since the inception, who's the director with the G Brands, that's the Grow First Brands. Welcome, Suneet.
Thank you very much. Hi, all.
Hello, everyone. Mr. Harshpal Singh, that's our first, it's the first time for him on the panel, the managing director with Ambe Group, one of the leading players in this space. Welcome, Mr. Singh. Next, we have Mr. Tapan Kumar Banerjee, another industry veteran from the packaging background, the director with Mahika Packaging, who's also joining us for the first time for this session. Welcome, Mr. Banerjee. And Umair, I think that's a known face now for some of our attendees. He's back once again with us as part of the personal care portfolio that he looks after with Trend Hypermarket. So welcome, Umair. So we'll quickly just have a 2-minute introduction from each of the panelists before we begin the session. Mr. Chatterjee, over to you.
Firstly, thank you very much, and thanks to all the attendees this afternoon. Good afternoon to all. In short, I have been into the private label business for many years now. I've been a retailer for almost about a little more than 12 years. Worked with companies like Metro, Walmart, Tesco, before becoming the private label head for Health and Glow. So that's quite a bit of experience around both category management as well as private label. My other interest is that I also work with international manufacturers, so I have to visit a lot of countries. So maybe one of the interesting things that I could share going forward today would be some of the things that we could replicate in India, which is going to be quite interesting for us. So what does the West do, or what does the Koreans do? And I thought it's going to be quite interesting for us to have glimpses there and debate and discuss, why those things cannot happen in India. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Suneetji?
Thanks, Vicky. So once again, I would like to thank the CMPL and you that, the platform which you guys are giving again and again to us to interact with our manufacturers or partners. So thanks a lot, and thanks to the participants who has got some time and giving some time over here to understand that how industry is moving and what can be done. So Prince definitely will be adding value in their lives. Me and Umair will be, mostly talking about the Indian synergies and all. So yeah, I have been in the retail for close to now 14 years, and end-to-end retail, if you talk about, like, it is from production to supply chain to brand building and to launching, adding the products, managing the business, building the portfolios and all. So this has been the kind of journey so far. I had complete FMCG for the Grow First brand. So FMCG, food, non-food, beverages, personal care, baby, everything comes under me.
Okay.
So lot many must be knowing me, and a lot many can connect with me through you.
Sure.
So I'm open for all the meetings, whatever it is. I will not be able to attend all the meetings, but definitely my product managers or the portfolio managers will be meeting with them on behalf of me.
Sure.
Anything required which can get solved through me only, and they are always doors are open to communicate.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for the support.
Thanks.
Yeah. Mr. Siddiqui, Umair, over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Very happy and glad to be here. And as Vicky mentioned, this is my first year here. I've recently joined the private label team. So it's been around 1 year since I've taken over the private label division in Star Bazaar. I take care of the food, beverages, and the personal care portfolio, which is close to around 400 SKUs already. And the plan is just to double, triple the number in the coming 2 3 years. So we have big plans for private label. My major objective for today's webinar is to get as many questions as I can from you guys and try to answer it to the best of my ability. And we have a lot of industry veterans here who will be probably better placed to answer the queries. And I think it's a very clear objective of finding partners that we can work with for the future, right? For the next 15, 20 years is what we are looking at. Yeah. So yeah, happy to be here and happy to take any questions.
Great, great. Tapanji, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. And give opportunity to CMPL this forum. I have more than 14 years experience in industry. After that, 36 years in packaging line. I worked SL Propack and Gamma, then Raj Propack. Now I join at Mahika Packaging as a director and development. We are doing development and technical activities. If you see what Mr. Chatterjee did, I think Mahika is huge range. Concept from manufacturing of tubes to labels, every private labels also we can do everything. That we can discuss detail when needed. And I also discuss about the sustainability. That is the media award that I can discuss today.
Sure, sure. Great. Thank you. Thanks. Mr. Singh?
Yeah, thank you, Vicky. Sorry, I could not join in time, but yeah, we at Ambe are the contract manufacturer and the private label manufacturer. Basically, the Ambe is in a B2B and the manufacturer of ingredients for the healthcare and the personal care industry. And for the last few years, say since 2015, we are in a different segment where we serve for manufacturing a wide range of, we can say, the healthcare, personal care, hygiene, immunity product, and complies with the international regulatory, like Prince was discussing about, the requirement of the international qualities and the standards. And unfortunately, we are the company who can fulfill the requirement of those kind of clients and the products. This is just a brief, and definitely I will have a detailed intro maybe sometime later.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks. So I'll begin with my first question to Sunil and also to Mr. Chatterjee. The last year, that was 2020, was the year of personal care and hygiene to a large extent. So we just wanted to know in terms of how the category, the opportunities that you all saw, which was tapped by retailers from your end, what did you all see as a trend, the opportunity, and the road ahead for 2021?
So, Vicky, I will not say that this was the year for the personal care.
Okay.
It was the year for the hygiene for sure. It was not the year for the cosmetic, beauty and cosmetic as well.
Correct.
Because no marriage, no function, nothing. So people were not going out and no cosmetic. While they were sitting at home, and also, again, there was no lotions and all, sunscreen lotion and UV, VV, all creams were not getting used. So it was definitely the year for the hygiene. So hand washes and again, shower gels and then sanitizers are something which have taken it off well. Sanitizers, all the industry guys knows that, it was kind of him while we were in the month of March and April. So there was huge demand, but no supply. And by that time, government has come up with the solution, like then, sugar mills also can produce the sanitizers. Then the traders also got stuck with the huge amount of the inventories.
Correct.
But the thing is that, hand washes was in demand always, and it was growing with 12% CAGR kind of. There was some more traction came in while WHO announced that soaps can be also used to be safe. So soap category has also got that traction. But sanitizer was something which was like, at any platform, if you talk, it was in thousands fold, right? So, but thing is that presently, if you see, that is fizzed out. Now the demand is not there. And it is not, I'm not saying that it has came down to a level where it was pre-COVID, but definitely it is not there where it got that kind of traction or the kind of usage or the kind of people has experienced it. So that retention of this particular product has not been there. And I don't think that in near future also it is going to bounce back. So this is all about what happened in the 2020. But yes, in last quarter, OND of 2020, there was some traction for the lotions due to winter and all. But still, overall, if I talk about, then 2020 was the year for the hygiene, but not beauty and cosmetic and personal care.
Okay, great, great. Mr. Chatterjee, your thoughts?
See, my thoughts are like this. In 2020, there was a very renewed understanding amongst one and all that hygiene is of most important if you need to survive. Now, so we saw technically two phases. One was the panic buying, which made the demand supply crisis. Was it really necessary? Maybe not. But we saw the huge peak, the steep peak coming only because of that panic buying, which happened with, let's say, hand washers, which happened with soaps, which happened with sanitizers. So that's one. Right now, as I agree with Sunit, right now we see a plateauing of some of these things. But let me come to the essence of it. The COVID has actually brought a renewed, let's say, understanding amongst consumers that hygiene is going to stay for long. Now, this is going to be the in thing. It might switch. We might see sanitizer sales getting now substituted with soap, liquid soaps, bar soaps, or whatever it is. But we will continue to see that momentum. In my view, we will continue to see that momentum. Now, sanitizers were specifically targeted against COVID. As the COVID scare goes down, we'll see the sanitizer scare goes down. But we might have already noticed that there are a lot of advertisements happening around the vaccine, and it says, even if you're vaccinated, please continue to wear your mask. So it would mean the other way around, that even if you're vaccinated, please do not leave the habit of washing hands.
Correct.
If I talk about this part of the hygiene, we also saw a huge demand in terms of shampoos and conditioners.
Okay.
Now, generally, when we talk about hygiene in the COVID scenario, it would mean either a sanitizer or a hand wash. But we saw a rub-off effect also coming into shampoos and conditioners, which is part of the overall hygiene. I have also experienced a surge of do-it-yourself for pedicure and manicure kind of stuff, which is also part of hygiene. So, all in all, in nutshell, there are huge opportunities going forward. And if we are able to really, consumers are not going to leave all of it. So consumers are going to look for these opportunities. And I think it is important for us that we understand, preempt what the consumer is looking for, and then offer the consumer accordingly.
Sure. Point well taken. So in terms of just taking this point forward, when you're looking to develop or a particular category or a product in that category. So I'll ask this to Umair. Umair, what is it that you look for in a supplier when there is an opportunity like this to develop something in the hygiene space? What are the attributes you look for in a supplier to see how quickly the product would be ready to market?
Yeah, so a very, very, very important question, Vicky. So obviously the first thing that we look at in a supplier, and I will take the question in two parts. One is the manufacturing supplier, and one is the packaging supplier, right? Because both play a very important role, especially in health and beauty. Right, your pack design and the kind of bottle you use, the kind of tube you use makes a lot of difference to how the customer sees the brand. So in terms of manufacturing, obviously we see the capability of the supplier. We have a comprehensive audit checklist which ensures that each and every aspect, right from the capacity, capability, kind of machinery that they have, the kind of sourcing setup that they have, and apart from that, also things like how ethically are they sourcing their raw materials, how sustainable is their supply chain. All of that is taken into consideration. So the capability of the manufacturer is one of the key things that we look at, and which we ensure through our audit checklist. Second, the attitude of the vendor. That's again I can't emphasize enough on it, that since putting up a new machine or putting up, let's say, a metal detector which wasn't there is not a very difficult task, right? It won't take too much time to do that. But if the vendor doesn't have the right attitude in terms of accepting the mistakes, or in terms of supporting wherever we need support, then we run into a problem. So how we treat all our vendors is like a partner. So the standards that we follow is what we expect them to follow, and we have an internal quality team who will help and handhold the supplier and the partners each and every step.
Okay.
So all we need from the partner is that they should be open and willing to take the step with us. And I think that's one of the key things that we look for in a new supplier. When it comes to packaging, we try and work with very reputable suppliers like Mr. Banerjee. Mica is one of our key partners, right? So we ensure that we are working only with the top suppliers because they have the capability and the conviction and the quality in their plants right now to give us the product that we need. So yeah, and again, what we ensure is that for at least the first 3 batches, a person from my NPD team, a person from the quality team, and the person from the packaging team is present both at the printing location as well as the final manufacturing location to ensure that everything happens. And once after 2-3 batches, everything is set, we have a SOP in place, and then we just roll with it. Yeah. So that's what we do.
Great, great. The good point is that we've got both sides on the panel. We've got a manufacturer, Mr. Singh, and Mr. Banerjee as well from the packaging side. So let me put this across to Mr. Singh first. The points that Umair mentioned from a manufacturer, that's from a supplier point of view, the ethics and some of the other fine technicalities involved before they could choose a supplier. What are your thoughts on that? Any hardships you faced from a retailer or any challenges that sometimes doesn't go in your favor?
Mr. Siddiqui, I really want to thank you to address our issues very well. As a manufacturer, I think the manufacturer should be well equipped in terms of see each and every part. It is not about the sourcing, putting up a machinery, but understanding of the market, understanding of the product, and understanding the need of the time. And the manufacturer should be ready with the team. Say you call it R&D team, product development team, supply chain, or the production. And definitely when we collaborate each other with the vendor and the supplier, there is a win-win situation and has to be understand each other's situation. Maybe sometimes we need to add some equipment, we can do based on the commitment with from the buyer that how they want to move. Altogether we can do it. And I will definitely want to add some of the points you discuss with the Mr. Prince, and the others members of the team. I think that the what market and the buyer need, we have to have understand that, particularly in terms of and once we make the product, it has to be complying with the regulatory part of the domestic market, or the market buyer want to push it maybe in the international, like Mr. Prince told that okay, the manufacturer in Europe or Thailand maybe having some different the quality, but yes, we in India can do that. Only thing is, how we both the sides, the vendors and the buyer and the supplier take it. Just I would like to brief about, the Ambe, how we do it and how it can be done. That we have all teams in place, and when we gotten a chance to interact with, the customer, the potential customers, we understand what exactly they want, how we can help them. If it is in terms of the product development, we put our team all together with their team so that we collaborate, understand each other's requirements, and can fulfill, the product what we want really. Like the quality of the product, whether it is, the chemicals or the preservatives, or sometimes buyer want to talk about sustainability, eco-friendly packaging and the ingredient, toxicity, then it is very important at my understanding, it is very important for both the sides, for the as of me as a manufacturer, that we should be aware of the need of the market, the need of the time, and what kind of product demand can be generated in the market. Maybe sometimes we propose some good, like in hygiene, I definitely agree with that. Say this sanitizer is not in the use, but we can propose a product in a different way, like in a hand cream sanitizer, because moisturizer is always required and we use the cream. If we can do the product which fulfill the requirement of moisturizing as well as the sanitizing,
Yeah,
means in the proposing a different kind of product,
sure.
it will help to to the buyers to get the product immediately in the market.
Great, great. Thank you. Thanks for that. Mr. Banerjee, from a packaging side, if you can share some thoughts on what Umair just mentioned and how Mahika comes into play with latest advancements in technology from a packaging perspective.
Yeah, if you see because of COVID, fourth quarter of 2020, huge demand of packaging, full, flexible as well as tube also, under flexible packaging. There is demand is there. If you see nowadays, that time we supply, if you see we have a supply 17 country, more than 400 customer we have service. We supply everything. That time a lot of hand sanitizer is there. We supply as per their requirement, because if you see Mahika have a one-stop shop. Everything is available, from tube making, your designing, and development also. If you need it, if you give specification, we are match that specification. Otherwise, we can give optimization of specification. That also we are provide to customer.
Great.
That's why we done our. If you see our machinery, all is imported from Switzerland. All machinery, tubing machinery, everything. Then we have a painting facility, fluxo painting. That facility, the offset painting is there. Then skin painting is there. Hot foil, cold foil facility is there. So we have a manufacturer from tubing, cap, closure, labels. Everything is in a one shop store.
So one stop. Yeah.
So that is the advantage. I feel now manufacturer, if you one shop, then this is the lead time you can reduce.
Sure.
What is needed, that lead time you reduce, and we can work with them.
Great.
That is there, one thing. Then nowadays, if you see what customer looking majority sustainability, that is the main requirement. We are working with that. Now, if you see what material used should be recyclable, 100%. That's why all ABL to shift to PBL and seamless tubes, and flexible laminate also. They are using redyne, PCR material. We are also working with that and need customer help. We also need vendor. We are as a vendor, we can help them, but they should give that lead time that is needed today scenario.
Okay. Great. So
Overall,
how much is the lead time you mentioned?
we also we are going on biodegradable polymer. We are using. We are developing. Then new polymer, because of footprint, carbon footprint reduction, we go for new polymer that is made from sugar cane, everything. There is synthetic polymer. So heat requirement, heat is come down. That also we are doing.
Okay. Okay.
Development, everything is going on. So
Great.
I need help also, Mr. Mayor, if you can help us.
Great. Sure.
Maybe I would like to chip in with one more thing with what Mr. Banerjee was trying to say. Vicky, it is quite interesting. I don't know if we know this. Almost about 30% of the global requirement of nail polish containers, the glass nail polish containers, 30% of the global requirement actually is supplied from India. Okay. Now, that's a very interesting number. Globally, if you actually have to look into packaging, the Chinese are ahead of the Indians. And the reason is just onefold. Not that they make the best quality. It's only about price. Now, I thought there's a huge opportunity. What am I trying to say? There's a huge opportunity amongst Indian manufacturers to not only capitalize the domestic opportunity, but also the international opportunity. It's quite ironical that the Indian manufacturer actually has to sell abroad. And when we make Indian products, we are looking for Chinese manufacturers to suffice our requirements. So that's a dichotomy, or that's a very ironical situation. But having said that, I'd like to just underscore what Mr. Banerjee was trying to say. There are fantastic opportunities and fantastic manufacturers are available. It's only that there needs to be a correct match so that the buyer exactly identifies that these are available in the marketplace, and that's the match is done. So similarly, what Mr. Singh was saying, See, we have a working relationship with Mr. Singh's factory. Honestly speaking, I don't know how many of us have.
Sorry, we've just lost you there. The screen is hanging.
Just got some amazing products.
Sure. Sorry,
Connection.
yeah.
Sorry for the poor. Yeah. Now, so similarly, I was trying to highlight that we have some working relationship with Mr. Singh's company, and trust me for this, he's not paid me to talk about this, but I must say, if you have not experienced some of his skincare products, they're just absolutely wow. And I thought there is a huge responsibility amongst Indian business houses, Indian retailers to support manufacturers like Mr. Singh, so that he's able to, get that confidence and build more capabilities and more scale, and offer consumers products which is just fantastic. So I've experienced those products. It's absolutely wow. Mr. Singh, I'm talking about your UV Nectar range.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Great, great. In fact, Mr. Chatterjee, that's the exact reason why we try to create a platform like this, to be honest, in the first place a couple of years back, to try and bridge the gap between the manufacturer and the retailer, so that we try to become a platform where if somebody requires a third-party manufacturer, be it from the buyer side or even from the seller who's looking for potential new business, this could be the platform. And thanks to the industry, where the stakeholders from the industry who have supported us since inception, like the Grofers team, for example, Big Basket, Star Bazaar. So these are some of the major retailers, and now Health and Glow, Wellness Forever. So once you build the chain, it kind of then just doubles up, and that's where you kind of create an ecosystem for the industry to collaborate. So that is, and that is where we started. So we're trying to kind of taken small steps there, but we're getting there.
Yeah, but Mr. Vicky, I really appreciate, because we have come across with a very good experience with your platform, and we could manage a very good clientele from the platform last year you provided to us.
That's great. That's good to know. That's a great testimonial. That's a great testimonial. Thank you. Thanks.
Even maybe Mr. Sharma is not aware, but we are closely working with them for the child care, baby care range for the last 6 months, and we are about to close. Maybe he has had a look on our product range, but his team has appreciated the product, and it is just about a commercialized to, the commercials to be finalized.
Great, great.
I am aware that Nityanand Dubey is looking after this particular board.
Yeah.
Sudeep is aware about everything. He is aware about everything. He's, he's just one step at the back, but he watches.
Yeah, definitely.
I just wanted to, everyone has, kind of added the value over there. I just have something to add in this, that in 2020, whatever has gone, so gone, right? Now in 2021 onwards. So I see that, there is huge opportunity. I add to the Prince Chatterjee's point that definitely there is huge opportunity that India can become a big, hub for the exports in terms of hygiene or personal care products. Only thing is that what I miss, I keep going outside to look after the certain things, because we are not getting those kind of solutions in India. And the solutions are packaging mostly, because personal care product is secondary, packaging is first. You need to have fantastic packaging, then only the customer get attracted towards, and then they will, make their mind to buy it.
Correct.
Packaging is something where we are missing. China is fantastic in that particular thing. Products are, everyone knows that China ka maal zyada nahi chalta hai, right? But we always doubt in their qualities, but design, but the look, feel, appearance of the packaging, that gives the confidence that our product is better. Why we talk about the Korea? Because if you talk about the cosmetics, then Korea comes in the mind, that Korea is fantastic in that. Product is nothing great, but packaging is something which makes that product premium. That is something which presents product in different way. So as a country, as an industry, we need to work around this. We retailers are ready, like Umair, me, Prince, we all are ready to give the boost to the Indian manufacturers. Only thing is that we are retailer. We are not a procurer, right? We cannot go and source the packaging thing or can develop the packaging thing. We can only be our expert in buying and selling. Now we need your help in terms of getting the right stuff so that we can buy. And we buy only what we can sell, right? If I will, I'm good with Singh Saab, that the range is fantastic. Really, products are beautiful. Only thing is that there is something in mind that, yeah, this particular packaging will go well with the moms or not, because that packaging should be smooth. It should be mild. It should look like love, right? Because baby and mother relation is like that. So packaging plays very, very crucial role over here. Hence, I request Mr. Tapan or industry guys, whomsoever is there in participants, that please look after the other options of the packaging. Go and see that, refer your Pinterest, refer your Google, and figure it out that what all other packaging are available. And let's build something, it's a mold, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kind of mold, if you can build for baby range, it is going to be huge.
Okay.
So packaging solution is something which I feel that requires. See, raw material wise, we are equipped. We are equipped with the labor. So processing is not an issue. We are equipped with the mind. We are quite intelligent. We can crack any of the product. Only thing is where we are missing is packaging solutions, where we need help.
Great. So I think
I would also like to, Sunit, adding to your point, I would also like to add one more thing. I think while those are available, I don't know why we do not get those people working for us in India. So that remains as a challenge. 100% agree with Sunit. Sunit, you might have also observed or agree with me on one more aspect. I think as Indians, we somewhere miss the consistency. Now, unless we have a consistent thing going on, let me put it here without taking some names. So I was doing some kind of a hand wash previously, which was getting manufactured in India. After a lot of struggle, and Sunit, adding to your point, after a lot of struggle in terms of putting the right packaging and the right look and feel, because that's the first interaction of the product with the consumer. So if it goes wrong, the product andar kya hai, no one cares. So it has to be good. So after cracking all of that thing, the other thing that I noticed was that we were not having the consistency. The nozzle of the hand wash suddenly from black became white in one batch. And someone called me up and said, sir, abhi white wala aaya hai, lene ka, nahi lene ka. And I was zapped. Why should that happen? So I think these are funny things, and I'm sure if Sunit is smiling and Mr. Banerjee is smiling, so we know that this has happened in our life in some shape and form. But these are very tricky things to do. So someone will send us something and say, sir, 3 bottles out of every 10 bottles is broken. And now you got to work so hard in terms of developing and giving them all these sermons on earth. How should a good packaging be? Now, a packaging is not only about the product packaging, but even the outer cover, how it is shipped from your factory, how it appears into my factory. It causes loss across the board, seriously speaking, because as retailers, we'll say, "Boss, maal wapis leke jao." But we have a sales loss. I'm just using this as an example. So supposing Mr. Singh has a sales loss because I did not buy his product, so he's got to redo the entire thing. So I think the other thing as Indian manufacturers, we got to be very mindful about the consistency. We need to be really very good at it.
Great. Point well taken. Umair, just to kind of understand from a startup point of view, when you're looking to start a category or develop a brand, what kind of research do you look at? Do you do personally as an organization before you think about starting a particular category or an extension in a category?
So Vicky, two parts to the question. One is once you're looking at a new brand altogether. For example, the current personal care brand that we have in the store is called Sky, SKY. That's the name of the brand. So when you are launching a new brand in the category, let's say personal care, for an example, that entails a lot of research because you have to first get an understanding on what all categories will you work on, right? For example, personal care is a massive category. It's one of the biggest categories that we have in the store, and it ranges from a shampoo to a hand wash to a body lotion to a perfume to a deodorant. So across the board, you'll have to probably make a 5-year plan, which is what we did, on what all categories will be tackled in the next 5 years.
Okay.
right? And based on that, then we'll do a competitive benchmarking on the kind of brands which are available. So, for example, for DOs, I'll look at Fog or Engage because those are the biggest players, right? Or Axe. For hand washes, it's completely Lifebuoy and Dettol. For body washes, again, it's Nivea, which is leading the pack. For soaps, it's Dove, it's Pears, right? So you have to amalgamate all of the information and then synthesize to understand how will you create one brand which will straddle through across all categories. So right from the kind of name that you use, the kind of logo that you design, the kind of colors that you use in the pack, all of that has to flow from that. So this is on the branding part. When you have to enter a category, for example, let's say I want to enter into deodorants, gas deodorants. Again, the research remains similar. What we need to do is so we do a mix of both MR and QR, right? So qualitative and quantitative research. See, because especially in personal care products, I can tell someone to rate a DO that I give him on a scale of 1 to 10, right? But I also need to get some pearls of wisdom subjectively, right? In terms of what are the notes of fragrance that he likes or she likes, right? In terms of intensity, does the person think it's too much, too little, or just right? So all of these things, some things can be quantified, but some things have to be subjective. So in most of the cases, we do a comprehensive quant as well as qualitative research. We have an internal sensory panel as well. Our quality teams and the NPA teams are equipped to test the product, and we ensure that the products are given to people who use the benchmark. For example, if I'm fighting against, let's say, Fog or Engage, I will ensure that the customers who regularly use Fog and Engage are the ones who test my product and ensure that the quality is at least same, if not better. In most cases, we strive to be the better ones. Yeah. So that's how and this is the development part. In terms of the marketing part, again, we have a rich data space because we have our own retail stores. So we have a strong data on the kind of price points that the product sells at, the kind of promotions which work, the kind of spacing that the product needs. So all of that again is completely data oriented, and so research on the placement, the pricing, and the promotion is also done comprehensively before we launch the store.
Okay, great. Great. Sunitji, you second this thought in terms of researching something different that Grofers does in addition to what Umair just shared?
Yeah, so see, I think that most of the retailer follows the same principles because we are from same school. Only thing is that, based on the scale and based on the customer profile, you change a bit. So, if it is all about the Prince Chatterjee, then he will be looking after the international trends also, because he is in core business of that particular stuff, right? Since me and Umair are from the grocery completely, so आटा दाल चावल के साथ cream powder भी, so we always look after the Indian trends first, that how modern trade is working, how GT is working, so Nielsen data or so like that it happens. So data, we definitely reverse the data, and we also draw some clue from the international market that how it is happening. We don't conclude or we don't make our strategy based on those database, but definitely we look into that, what is happening, how they are trending, what kind of future we see in that particular product or line that it is going to be. So I think this is what we currently look after.
Great, great. Mr. Chatterjee, from an international sourcing perspective, with your experience and background, any kind of inputs that you could, add value to in terms of, to the audiences on board? Something different?
I think, Vicky, my observations are the following. So there are a lot of trend-setting things which happen in the West. And so particularly if I talk about the across European Union, they're doing quite a lot of cutting-edge trend-setting things for the consumers at large. So for example, one of the biggest trends is something that we call as safe beauty or clean beauty, or the scientific parlance for that is called no nasties, which is the US parlance, which means that you will not have any harmful chemicals going in. There are no parabens, there are no SLS, there are no SLES in these kind of products. Now, very interestingly, again, within Europe, you will find that there are a lot of markets which have gone quite advanced. So for example, if I talk about Germany, you go to any retailer in Germany which does with, does personal care. For example, a Rossmann, which is Europe's one of largest retailers, you'll not find any personal care product which has any of these harmful chemicals. It's completely green. There are, of course, then if you go to a Spain or if you go to a Greece, you'll find a mix of both. So you'll find this is also available, that is also available. So one of the major interesting thing is that if these things are happening in the Europe, it's just a matter of time that it comes to come to India. Now, should we take a leap now, or should we wait while everyone else has done it and then we plunge into it? So that's the constant thought that one needs to keep in mind. One needs to out of my experience, one needs to be completely aware of what's happening in the West, what's happening elsewhere in other markets, developed markets which are known for credible products. So, for example, personal care products are also fantastic in Japan. Not many people know about it, but it's absolutely brilliant, but they're far too expensive.
Okay.
A rip-off of that is available in Korea, as Sunit was saying. Are the Koreans the top-notch quality? My understanding, again, with Sunit, no, but they're very consistent, and you get what you ask for. So if you say, I need this spec, they will never do any compromise. You will consistently get that particular product. And the juice becomes sweeter as much as money that you are likely to spend. But the essence here is that trends are happening across either in Far East or in the Western countries. We as Indians have the capability. Should we follow them or not? When do we follow them, and how quickly we get it in India? So those are some of the things that we got to talk about. Obviously, the dynamics will be a little different from a supermarket player to a specialty player like us. We need to be far more nimble compared to a supermarket, hypermarket kind of a background, but it's going to catch.
Okay.
So, Vicky, just I want to add on with the Mr. Prince, because the quality and the standards we are talking, I would like to put it here that since 2005, we are international market, and 80% of our business comes from the export and overseas market. We understand, I just want to express that in India, we have the capabilities, we have the quality, we have the standards, which can, meet the European or US or the Japanese or the Korean, whatever you say, we can do. The only thing is, definitely we all together should understand that, as Mr. Prince told, as the sugar you add, the cost increase. So the acceptance, the label of marketing or the label, the standards of the product has to be matched all together, right? Whether the new terms, the PAH, polyaromatic hydrocarbons, which is a new parameter in the whole European countries, that has to be taken care in India. We have the capabilities to meet the requirement to standards of the European countries. Either it is the healthcare or the personal care or the safety. I just want to put it on one point here, like we have a product called Muleti or the licorice. In Japan, we extract the dipotassium glycinate, one molecule out of that, which is used in cosmetic throughout the Korea, Japan. Okay. But yes, the difference is that costs say 4 lakh rupees per kilo. Muleti extract cost you say 1,000 or 2,000 rupees per kilo. Then which kind of product you want to add in your final product, and what kind of effect you want to, how safe, natural and the safe and then effective. All these things come from the quality of the ingredient you put on your final product, and then definitely meets to your regulatory requirement or specific country requirement or the quality requirement. But yes, I just want to say that yes, in India, we have the capabilities to make that quality product and meet the global requirements, standards and all.
Maybe I'll also like to add one more thing to what Mr. Singh is saying. Quite interesting, Vicky, connected to what you asked me. You'd be surprised to know that a lot of ingredients of these skincare products, which is a very sensitive thing in Europe, actually goes from India. They don't really buy it from China. Trust me. But the irony is that the likes of Mr. Singh, when he approaches an Indian buyer to buy, will say, "Sir, bahut mehanga hai." But he goes and sells it there. So the question here is that there needs to be a balance. Yes, we are doing the right thing. We know that it might not sell, etc. But with scale, some of these things become far more accessible. So are we really offering scale to our Indian manufacturers? I did mention to you, see, I was in Denmark and I saw those Indian machines in the factory in Denmark.
Correct.
I was in Germany, a place called Nuremberg, and I saw one of the largest manufacturers. I'm not naming them. I saw Indian machines operating in a German factory. Now that's quite interesting. Mr. Singh supplies to a lot of European countries. He's a major supplier of raw materials. So you know so in nutshell, this is already available. The trends are getting set there. The raw materials are going from here. The machines are going from here. So it all means that we have the capability of bringing these things quite at the same time as Europe does. Do we have it in us is the question, and how should we do it is the question.
Correct. So if I could ask this question, let's say, how should we do it to Sunita and Umair? Is there a couple of tips that you could share on how could we address this challenge?
So see, Vicky, as I said that, first of all, that if you go and see the data, that how many Indian consumers or customers are using toothpaste both the times, right? So it's we are still in learning phase. We are learning. We are trying to understand that what is the usage actually. People are using same Lifebuoy for bathing and for hand wash, right? Most of the public is using the detergent bar for the bathing as well. So we are not in that shape as of now. And the people who are understanding all those things that, safe range, or you talk about the herbal range, or you talk about the green range, natural products, all those things, they are very. So they are not actually the customer of Grofers or Star Bazaar or Reliance. They are some of the customers are there which goes to the either Nykaa or to Prince Chatterjee. So again, that is not enough for Mr. Singh to produce. If there is 10 factories in India, and if you talk about the complete requirement, it's not even for one particular factory, right? So first of all, we need to educate to the consumers that these are the products which keeps you healthy. They keep you, shining. They helps your skin tone or, hair color or whatever it is. These are healthy products for yourself, right? And in India, everything asks at value. They don't want to pay anything premium. So here, this responsibility goes to us that we need to make that product affordable for them so that they will start using at least. And then the moment they will start using, they will understand the benefits of it. Once they understood the benefit, then they are continue to buy, and then they are ready to pay also, right? But first, onus lies between Prince, me, Umair, that we need to teach them, and the onus goes to the Singh Saab, Tapan Saab, that we need to provide that value to the consumer so that we can create that pie first. Once that pie is there, once customer base is there, once users are there, then we can renovate the products, and they will definitely buy it because then they will understand what is the use of it.
Correct. Well taken. Great point. Umair, just to kind of take that discussion forward, in terms of from your end, what is it that has brought about a change in strategy? Could be to the pre-COVID procurement strategy from Star Bazaar as compared to the latest trends. Have you changed anything in terms of procurement strategies when you connect to a supplier, or how about how have you done it now? Any change?
Yeah. So a couple of changes is the first change is in the mix of products that we take, right? So as everyone already mentioned, we've seen a significant shift in terms of hand washes and sanitizers over the last 1 year or so. But with COVID slightly waning, I wouldn't say that it's already gone or it's on its way out. I think we were still in the middle of it. But yeah, things are looking up. So yeah, I think people are getting back to offices, starting going out. So probably we'll see a shift back to cosmetics and beauty products probably in the next 6 months. In terms of onboarding a supplier or how do we work with suppliers, we used to do only physical audits, for example. And as I said, we used to be present physically for the first 2-3 batches of production for every product we launched.
Okay.
What we've done is over the last 1 year, we have developed a comprehensive digital audit checklist.
Okay.
And we have successfully conducted 2-3 audits with different partners, completely digital. So we didn't have to travel for that.
Okay.
The same thing for production. The production again, all the people involved will be available on a live live call, live video call, and we'll be seeing
Okay.
each of the processes physically, and then we'll get the physical samples. So I think we managed to adapt to the situation quite readily, and I think now with travels restrictions being eased, we realize that probably going forward also we'll do a mix of both. Right, in most cases you don't really need to travel, and someone was talking about carbon footprint. I think that will help a lot in reducing carbon footprint that we are generating as a company and we are generating as an industry. So I think going forward, a mix of digital and physical will definitely help both in terms of speeding the processes and as well as saving cost and the environment at the same time. Yeah, so I think this is going to stay. We won't shift back ever to all physical going forward.
Great, great. So what we'll do that is I'll because we've got some interesting questions out here as well. So maybe we could relate to that and then have a discussion going forward based on the questions. I'll just take the first question here. It's from Puneet. He says, I'm an amateur formalist. He's got a couple of products formulated for the personal hygiene and the housekeeping space. So he wants to know how to start, brand, and market these products. And finance is also a big, kind of constraint for him too. So for a startup who's formulated a couple of products, how does he go about, doing his stuff? Any suggestions? Any thoughts on this? Suneet, Prince, anyone?
So, Prince, I take up. Okay, cool. So, first of all, thanks for asking such a nice question because it is going to help many. Yeah. Now, thing is that, beautiful products, beautiful mind is at work. Thing is that first you need to have conviction around that product. Whatever you have formulated, that product is really fantastic. So there is two routes to do it. One is that your own, or you can partner with Mr. Singh also, right? If you are having conviction, then Mr. Singh will get convinced, and he will definitely take it up this product and will try to market with his own portfolio. The second route is that your own. So for your own, you need not to go for the basket full of product. You choose your priority number 1, 2, 3, 4. Go with one. Get local market first. Get your reviews around the product. Word of mouth is something which is fantastic stuff, right? We don't have deep pockets to run the advertisement or go for the ATL, BTL activities. For the startups, the best part is that if you are not having any kind of funding, or if you don't have funds in your pocket for invest on branding and marketing of the product, then best part that you make that product a value and sell it out in the local market and keep collecting the reviews and post those in online. The more and more reviews you get, the more and more traction you get. Once you are having some kind of traction around your product, there is base of customer around your product, then you go and launch your second product. There you can start charging a bit more because then you know that you are getting established somewhere. Be like Umair, me, Prince, we always do market research that which product, which brand is doing great in that particular region. If your product is there, if a research says that ABC brand is good and the product is fantastic, people are appreciating, then we always think about to keep that product on our platform. And when B goes to any brand, at that time the table is at their end. They negotiate with us. We don't, because they ask for what they want. They tell us what they will give. So if a startup company or a product company is coming to us first, and we don't have any kind of need of that particular product, we then start negotiating differently. So if you are not having funds around and if you have patience of it, then you first market your product in local market, build that product first, get that conviction from the customer as well that yeah, your product is fantastic, and then keep growing on it. The second route is very simple, that Mr. Singh is there. You can connect with him, propose your product, let him understand what it is, and then figure it out the ways, whether it is revenue ways or how he want to crack. So these are the two routes what I feel that can be taken.
So it's basically start local and then go global.
Correct.
And probably the other thing I would like to also add to what Sunit has said is, these days marketing a product or reaching the consumer has become far more easier than it was 10 years back. So today you have the digital actually helping you reach consumers. So you have the world of the Insta, you have the world of the YouTube. So there are plethora of such things already available, as rightly pointed out by Sunil. So if you really want to build a word of mouth kind of a reputation for your product, why don't you actually start using some of these social media platforms and start building it on? Because that's probably the fastest and the low cost thing to achieve your goals.
So, well taken. Let's take the next question from Manoj. He has a question for the panelists to see the prospects for a veggie wash. You know, that's the fat kind of product which has kind of come into play for the last few months in the COVID era. So he wants to know the future, like we spoke about the future of sanitizers, Sunitji, that you mentioned at the beginning. So is there a future for this product category as well, veggie wash, fruit wash?
So see, if you see the trend again for veggie wash also, it has been same as for sanitizers, but yes, it has not seen that kind of peak. There was one brand, Beige Wash Plus, I think Beige Wash Plus from Pune. I was seeing that product in my Spar days, that it was selling as buy one get one and always full stack near to FNB area.
Okay.
There was no traction that time, 8 years back. While this COVID thing came in, I heard that they had great business because in market there was nobody. By the time Marico ITC has developed and launched that product, he milked a good amount of money. And I think that he covered all the losses what he has suffered for last 8-9 years.
It's 16 hours.
But today, if you see, then the trend again is declining. And I'm pretty sure it is not going to be there where it was pre-COVID. It is going to be 3x, 4x of where it was. But yeah, this is again a product. See, customer is different. Indian consumer are a bit different. The way they don't, by the time they will not see the actual reaction, they don't believe, right? So they are washing the fruits, vegetables. If it is not looking like clean, then it's not clean, correct? So
right.
This product actually needs some kind of innovation, that where color changing formula or something, actually, right?
Yeah.
Then only that, okay, it's a red color solution. The moment you wash your vegetables and all, it will become green, right?
Sure.
This product requires some kind of innovation. Mr. Singh needs, this product is having only 4 ingredients, nothing else. And all those are chemicals. Now you are washing chemical through chemical, right? So you need something in the product where it can be trustable. And once that trust is there, once customer feels that, yeah, this is doing some reaction or action, then it will see different heights altogether. But yes, in present scenario where it is going to be 3 to 4x of what it was pre-COVID.
Great. Thanks for the answer. Question from Pragya, from a buyer's point of view, she just wants some inputs as to what are some of the finer terms that she could add in terms of contract with the contract manufacturer. So are there any points on that? Umair, maybe you could add a couple of key points for a buyer to add in the contract manufacturer's contract.
See, I think some of the key points that I think it's quite obvious. See, there are a few conflict areas that generally come up, right? One of which is the pricing, correct? So how will the pricing be decided? How often will the pricing change? What happens if the raw material prices keep fluctuating, which it does, right, in most of the cases. So I think whatever are the conflict areas, one is pricing, one is the supply terms. For example, if you agreed on a 30-day delivery, you need to ensure that that's something which is possible all the time, right? So I think whatever are the conflict areas like delivery terms, like payment terms, how often should the payment be made, how often will the prices change, all of that should definitely be codified and kept in the agreement. And especially when the contract manufacturer is buying the packaging material on your behalf, I think all of that clarity should also be there. So who will bear the cost of the packaging? For how long will the packaging material last? What happens in case there is a regulation change and you have to scrap the packaging, right? So all of these areas which might lead to a conflict in the future should be codified and kept in the agreement so that you have a smooth relationship, because we have burned our hands and now we've realized, and hence if you see our agreements today with the vendors, it's completely transparent and all of these factors are so it's a massive comprehensive agreement. It takes a lot of time for us to sign it, but once we do it, we are sure that both the parties have a win-win situation and we don't get into any sort of hassle later on. So I think that's the key.
Great. Thanks for that, Umair. There are a couple of questions related to brand design and stuff. So I think we could take those questions in our webinar on packaging and brand design, which happens on the 22nd. So I won't take those questions up. There is just one last question that we could take. Maybe it's a question from Gurvinder where he says he's got, let's say if they don't have a formulation of skincare or hygiene products, but they've got a sales platform. So how can retailers, or how could they approach retailers or brands for private labeling instead of hiring a company from, let's say, Seoul in South Korea or some of the other countries? So let me answer that. That is exactly the reason why we are here. Because if you have the expertise of manufacturing, if you have, the back-end technical knowledge and expertise, then we are here to connect you with the FMCG brands, retailers, hospitality professionals, etc. We're looking for manufacturers. Am I correct, Mr. Chatterjee? Based on our discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Vicky, I would like to address this again. I just want to add here that we guys are here to support you in average. You just conceptualize the things. Actually, you
Correct.
want something.
Correct.
We are here with the whole team, right from product development or research on that, the production, then the supply chain and everything. We again help you in the regulatories, methodology. Each and every part of the product has to be have. So you just have an idea. You think about the market, like Mr. Sunil, Mr. Prince. All you guys just focus on the market, and we are here to support you technically to get the product delivered.
Great. So let's have a quick.
I think if I have to respond, I'm itching to respond because I see South Korea written, Seoul written there. See, if I have to respond to that, I think the easier way, as Vicky, both you and Mr. Singh is saying, see, for essentially we go to a Korea or we go to an outside country essentially because we are not getting what we want to give to the consumer, or what a specific set of consumer is asking, and it is not available. So either we are not finding it, or either it is not available. I have no doubt in my mind, and as Sunit has also said in the past in this program, Indians have by and large the capability of replicating virtually everything. It's a mindset game. So if the likes of Mr. Singh is today ready to, formulate something which is at par like Korea, we don't need to go to Korea. Simple. So and it's a partnership. So if you have a sales platform, you need a manufacturer who gives you products equivalent to a Korea or even better to a Korea. Show him the samples. In this example, Mr. Singh is the manufacturer. Show him the samples. Tell him to replicate the same. You have your sales platform. Just get the private labeling done through him, and you're done. And obviously, Vicky, you are the platform which happens to be the glue or the conduit between the buyer and the seller here. So, the biggest trick in this entire thing, or the biggest, let's say, the enigma in this entire piece is, where is the buyer, elusive buyer, and where is the elusive seller? And this is your platform, which makes it far too easy for any one of us to find out.
Correct. Yeah. Thanks for seconding that thought. That's exactly what we are trying to achieve, to be on the same page. So that's great. So what we'll do is, since we've crossed 4 already, let's have a quick couple of lines, closing remarks from each of you all on the overall experience and the way forward as well. So Nichi, start from you.
So yeah, first of all, again, I would like to thank all the participants and all the members over here who have shared their views. 2021 is kind of already gone close to 2 months now, and we are all getting up for the summers. So one of the major challenge, if I talk about, right, that since this is the area where we are going to get into the deos and perfumes and all, right, but since there is certain bans and all, so some accurators and all not coming out from the China's and all, there's huge opportunity to get those manufactured in India. We are not having sufficient inventory in India to manufacture the deos and all, right? Because of actuators are not available. Cans are not available even. So we need to figure it out that, where all are the dependencies and how can we cut down those dependencies? How can we make all the product local? And the moment we start doing, since, it has came out very clearly, Mr. Singh, Mr. Chatterjee, we all are in alignment that a major raw material and packaging material is getting created in India only. Only they are getting different shapes in different countries, and then name is coming out as that they are the core manufacturer, or they are having all the capabilities to do that. So we are having capabilities, we are having every resource. Only thing is that we need conversion of those things. Conversion with the mindset that this is going to be for consumer. As of now, our mindset is that this packaging is only to fill the product. So we need to see the packaging differently now. Packaging is not to fill the product. Packaging is something which is demonstrating your product quality. So to show that, let's work on that part. I think the rest of the things are with us. Machinery is there, raw materials are there, key packaging materials out of LDP, SDP and all. We are having all those, right? Only thing is that we need to put in that shape, what consumer need.
Great.
And we are through then. Like personal care is something where we will not have any kind of dependency on anybody. And we will be the one of the biggest hub who will be exporting this stuff. So there is huge opportunity. I requested to the industry, manufacturer and packer both, to work on those lines. Whomsoever comes to us that we are manufacturing this product and would you be interested? My first standard answer is please share the catalog with the product images.
Correct.
Because the moment I see those rectangle bottle for the, any product, same bottle that Ponds used to use for their talcum powder is back, right? Same bottle is coming for different 10 products. So it is something which is quite bored now for the consumer. We need to innovate from there. So just to go back and see the designs, see how market is trending. Lipstick, you see the candle and how many shapes, what kind of designs they are creating. It's simple, right? Pencil kind of stuff, but it is available in different shape. And that is what category get excited about.
Correct.
Right?
Absolutely.
So I think we have everything. We need to just put some more effort and mind around to create this.
Great. In fact, that's the thought which Dhananjay as well from NCEPT, who's moderating that session on packaging and brand design, will be speaking about, because that's the first look which attracts the customer. Yeah. Before the product, before the taste, is the packaging and the brand design, because it's going to compete with an FMCG brand. So, so it's a very crucial, it's a first important look, which will definitely be addressed in that session on the 22nd. So I'm sure that will also be a value addition for our attendees as well. Tapanji, from a packaging perspective, Mahika, obviously, Sumitji and Karthikji from Region Plus, a lot of these players who've been in the industry for long. Closing remarks for, for our attendees, innovations, and what exactly you have in mind for the road ahead. Sir, you're on mute. Tapanji, you're on mute.
Yeah, Mr. Vicky, by the time I would like to grab this opportunity because I'm on way, and definitely my laptop battery is also saying to say bye to
no
me.
No problem.
I would like to say a special thanks to you and your team who has organized and given us such a beautiful platform, and opportunity to be in a part of this esteemed leadership panel on personal and healthcare. Really thanks. Last year in Mumbai, we came across with a very good experience. And just to brief on the whole situation we had in 2020, actually, it was a year of challenge. But for the industry, we are in healthcare and in the personal care, it was definitely not just a challenge, but an opportunity. I would like to share my experience that we could manage it very well in a peak of COVID in April and May and June, and could deliver the product to our valued customer. We could expand our market. And fortunately, we now have a new facility, so we need to take every challenge in a positive way. And only thing is, like Mr. Sunit, I really agree and appreciate your concern. We will definitely take care of the packaging, which is, say, the first phase of the product, right? And we will work together with Mr. Tapan and the other industry partners to give you, the international quality packaging. Definitely the product we have, we can say. So thank you very much for giving us an opportunity. Thank you all of you for getting me, because I'm on way and still you guys allowed me to be in a in a panel.
The
So
network was pretty good, so it didn't cause any challenge.
yeah,
So stick
definitely.
to the network. Don't
And
migrate.
Mr. Siddiqui, we are definitely enjoying the cooperation from our buyers, who help us to have a virtual audit, straight from, whether the manufacturing or the deliveries or the documentation, because QA, QC is a very important part when you work together. Then we are working, because, it is not always possible to travel from Mumbai or from Bangalore to Delhi or some other places. Then this COVID has, taught us something virtual, and we can do it from our home. I'm sitting somewhere in part of Uttarakhand. You guys are some in different places, and we are still in one platform. So this is something new and the good we have learned. So I again thank you and wish you all the best. And I'm here to serve you. Please give me a chance. Give us a
Sure.
chance.
Thank you. Thanks for joining, Mr. Singh. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thanks. Tapanji, over to you.
Yeah, what happened, if you see 2020, we have a lot of opportunity. And if you see, we as a primary, secondary packaging, we have a lot of variety is there, but we have no opportunity to show you showcase. I feel in future I can showcase you, and you can show, you can give your requirement. We can make, I can tell you this.
Sure. Sure.
So this is the opportunity also that we can grab this opportunity. Thanks a lot to everyone.
Pleasure. Thank you. Thank you. Umair?
Yeah, just a couple of closing points. See, I just want to tell everyone on the call that private label in India is here to stay. Right now, in most of the retailers, be it whoever you name, the contribution of private label sales would be less than 10% in most of the cases. Whereas if you see any of the developed countries, be it Aldi Lidl in UK or Mercadona in Spain or Woolworths in South Africa, their contribution of private label to the overall sales is more than 80%. Yeah. So I think the way forward is just exponential growth across all categories, and really looking forward and excited about connecting with all the participants after the call offline to just roll out products after products and just take over the world. Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Great, great. Thanks, Umair. Mr. Chatterjee.
I thought everyone's put it very rightly, so I don't have anything additional to talk about. The only thing that I would like to sum it up is let's make fantastic and great use of this platform that you are creating, and I thought that's the key to reach both the buyer as well as the seller. So if we are able to harness this platform very well, I think all the rest of the masalas are already available. So
Correct.
we need to. So this is the place where we get all the masalas.
Thank you. Thanks for that. Yeah, we want to be the one-stop source for private label, supplier sourcing. That's what the overall objective is. And, with the support and, of retailers, brands, I'm sure we will be, kind of reaching to the next level in a couple of years' time. But we've taken the first step, which is always the most, difficult part, to try and create the platform. So we're trying to make the most use of the current scenario where physical distancing and physical meets cannot happen. We're trying our best to shortlist suppliers, have a one-to-one connect, to at least have a first round of introduction. The retailer or the brand likes the product or the supplier, the discussions can always happen offline. So yeah, so great. Yeah, thanks once again, everybody, all the panelists, our attendees, our partners who've made this possible for us to, to go digital and make the best use of technology that we have on hand. I look forward to your active participation in our next series of B2B events on the personal care and hygiene space, which happens from the 16th and 17th of February. And the webinars the following weekend on Friday and Saturday as well on cleaning and health and wellness respectively. So we'll keep you posted. And thanks again for your time on a Saturday afternoon, early evening now. Great to have you on board. Thanks very much. Appreciate your support.
Thanks, Vicky. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.